Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and welcome to the Absolute Beginners series of guitar tutorials. You're actually joining partway through the series and I recommend you do these in order, so I'll put a link in the information section down there to part one so you can start and go through these in order. See you back here once you've been through the earlier tutorials. So let's start to talk a little bit about playing single notes. We spent a lot of time talking about playing chords. Let's talk a bit about playing single notes, because as I said at the start of this series, there's sort of two main disciplines you'll think about with guitar playing. There's the idea of playing chords or more single note stuff called lead playing. So what I want to do now is start focusing on playing single notes, and this is kind of going to get you into being able to play a more lead type of playing. We're going to stick with blues and we're going to stick with the key of A, I think, just for the heck of it. And we're going to play what's known as a walking bass line. This is actually quite common for bass players, but it's a good start for getting you into the practice of playing single notes. You only need two fingers for this on your fretting hand: index finger, first finger, and your ring finger, your third finger there. I'm going to show you basic what's called a walking bass line. We're playing in the key of A, so we're going to start off with an A at the 5th fret on the bottom E string. And we're going to play that note, single note, just play that with a downstroke with the pick. Now the next note that I want to play is 7 semitones higher, so it's at the 7th fret. And so I'm going to play that with the ring finger. So if you think about it, we're going to use one finger per fret. Finger for that fret, finger for that fret, finger for that fret, finger for that fret. So the ring finger goes down and we're going to play the E note, which is the 7th fret on the A string, on the 5th string. Now this might sound like an odd thing to tell you to do, but I want you to play that note with an upstroke. So your right hand is playing the bottom A, the bottom string with the A on it, with a downstroke, going underneath that 5th string, and then playing up over. Now that might feel a bit weird, but it's an important thing to get down. Using alternate picking, as you get into more advanced stuff, having good alternate picking technique is really, really useful. Coordination is also a key here. So you're playing that first note, and then you need to fret it on the second note just before you play the string. So it's fret and pick, fret and pick, fret and pick, fret and pick. Take this as slow as you need. To get the coordination right, you can always build the speed up as you go on. Okay, now this is a 4-note pattern. I'm going to go to the 3rd note in the pattern now, which is also at the 5th fret, but it's on the 4th string. So we're playing a G, which is right here at the 5th fret on the D string. But because it's at the 5th fret, we're going to use our index finger for that. So what we need to do is play that first note, that second note. We've taken our first finger off the fret and bring it down onto the 4th string, ready to play that G note. And we're going to play this with a downstroke. So we're playing it with your right hand, you're playing down, up, down. And then the last note in the sequence is played on the 4th string again, but it's at the 7th fret. Picking on this, down, up, down, up. So that should sound familiar to you. Sort of thing that crops up quite a lot in blues playing and rock playing. Important things to bear in mind about this: so alternate picking with your picking hand. the coordination of being able to have the note fretted just before you pick the string. So you don't want to be playing like having an open string and then bringing your finger down on it after you've picked it. It's got to be fretted just before you pick it. And it's got to be played evenly, so each note lasts as long as the other. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice steady sort of pattern. So spend a bit of time just practicing that, thinking about all the things that you need to do. The picking, the coordination, the fretting, all of that. Play it as slowly as you need to be able to get all the factors right and get the timing nice and smooth. And then as you get more proficient, you can build the speed up. Metronome's a useful tool. You know, set the metronome to just tick away and then play along with the metronome at a speed that you're comfortable with. And as you get more proficient, you can kind of wind the metronome up and play along with it at a faster speed. Once you've mastered that simple pattern, we can start to do something with it. Let's think about what that first note is. It's an A. So let's say we're playing in the key of A. We could play a 12-bar blues sort of pattern, but using this picked bass line. So what do we do in the 12-bar blues? We start on one chord and then we go up by 5 semitones to the next chord. So when we started on an A chord, we went up 5 semitones to get us to a D. Well, what we can do with the pattern is take the root note and go up 5 semitones, which takes us to a D. Now this is where it helps if you're starting to learn your fingerboard. You know, get a fingerboard chart. I'll put a link in the information section down there to one that you can print out and study. Starting on an A, we want to go to a D. Now it just so happens that a D, 5 semitones higher, is the next string up. So we can take that pattern from the A, starting on A, and play the same thing through, but starting on a D. So we start at the 5th fret on the 5th string, and then go up to the 7th fret on the 4th string, then the 5th fret on the 3rd string, and then the 7th fret on the 3rd string. So you can hear the same pattern, but it's moving up 5 semitones. Again, same principles apply. Each note lasts as long as the others, so it's a nice steady 1, 2, 3, 4. Coordination and alternate picking. Let's think about our 12-bar blues progression again. So 12-bar blues, we play the 4 times through the first chord. The next chord we go up to 5 semitones and play that chord through twice, and then we go back down and play the original chord twice. So let's do that same movement but using this picked pattern, and we get this. So let's go back and think about our chords again. Where do we go after we've played those initial 8 things through? Well, we'll go up from the root up by 7 semitones, which gets us to an E. Or you can think about it as going from up 2 semitones from the second chord in the sequence. The second chord in the sequence is a D, which is that pattern. What we can do is just move that whole thing up by 2 semitones. So instead of starting on a D at the 5th fret on the 5th string, we start at an E, which is the 7th fret on the 5th string. And we can play that pattern through again. Down. So start from a downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. First finger, third finger, first finger, third finger. In our 12-bar blues progression, we play that through once, go back down 2 semitones to play it on the D chord, and then we'll go back and play it on A a couple of times. So think about the way the chord progression goes in the key of A. Got A 4 times, D twice, A twice, and E, a D, and then A twice. If we play that with the bass line, we get this. probably a good time to introduce you to the idea of tablature, or tab as it's sometimes known for short. In the long term, it's useful to know how to read and write formal music notation, the stuff that looks like this. But just for now, tablature is a good way of representing music as it's played on the guitar. Compared to normal music notation where there's 5 lines, tablature has 6. And basically those 6 lines represent the strings of the guitar, the lower E string on the bottom and the high E string on top. And the way the tablature is marked out is we just put numbers on those lines to represent the fret that you're playing at. So in the example we've just been playing, that pattern would look like this, played starting on an A note at the 5th fret on the bottom E string. So that full 12 bar piece would look like this. I've split it up into bars. Now bars are something that we get from formal music notation, just a way of breaking a piece of music up. So in this case we're playing, a bar is that 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a single bar of music. As we call this a 12 bar blues because it's going over 12 of those bars. So to keep it readable, I've split the tablature up into bars as well. So don't worry so much about that for now. As you get more advanced in your guitar playing, you'll learn different ways of playing notes and different techniques, and there's ways of annotating tablature to indicate where those techniques are used. For now, that's not something we particularly need to cover, although there is one pair of symbols that I'll show you, and that's these. And these are used to indicate whether a note's played with a downstroke or an upstroke. Now these aren't used all the time. Generally they're just used if the person who's written the piece of music down wants to indicate to you he wants the music played in a specific way, which is what I'm doing here. I'm trying to get you into the habit of doing alternate picking. So I'm specifically saying this note needs to be played with a downstroke, this note needs to be played with an upstroke, and so on. So there you go, that's your first sort of 12 bar blues played all the way through but playing single notes rather than chords. Now if you've got somebody else that plays guitar, you can actually play the two things together. If you get somebody to play 12 bar blues chord progression through, starting on an A, going up to a D, using the E chord as well, you can play that bass line through, starting on the A, the D and the E. And what the chord's playing and what you're playing as the lead line, they'll kind of complement each other and it comes together. This is one of the main things about music, about how you can have different instruments playing things that kind of match each other because they come from the same key. That's what you're doing there, you're playing the lead line over a chord progression. Now what we did when we learned the 12 bar blues chord progression was we learned it in different keys. And you can do the same thing with that lead line that we just played.